Hey everyone, it is so good to be here with you today. Now, by now you notice that our worship experience online has been different today. And that's because on the second Saturday of every single month, we have our Connection Sabbath experience. So at 12:30 p.m., we're gathering here at our Boughton Road location. We want to invite you to come out. See, we believe here that community, that the relationships that we build with one another here at church will be with us for all eternity. So the second Saturday of every month we have dedicated to connecting. So come today at 12:30 p.m. if you're in the Chicagoland area. And here's what you can expect. We're going to sing a few songs, we're going to hear a short word, but more importantly, we're going to sit around circles and we're going to connect with each other. We're going to get to know each other, but we're also going to go deeper in Scripture. And for me, the second Saturday of every month literally is my favorite Saturday of the month because we're able to delve deeper with our friendships and our connections. So we want you to be a part of the community that is flourishing here at Bolingbrook Church. But the reason that the online service is also different is because we acknowledge that there are many of you who are a part of our online community. Some of you live too far away to be here physically, but we wanted to make sure that you were up to date on the conversations that we're having here in person. Now, last Saturday, Pastor Dave began our new sermon series called We Are BC. And the truth is that you are part of this Bolingbrook Church, whether you're here in person or whether you're a part of our bigger online community. And every year, we want to make sure that we are looking at the horizon and asking, God, who are you wanting us to be? Because we've seen many churches, big churches, institutional churches, who have shrunk down to just a few people that are gathering. And for so many churches, they want to go back to the way things were 40, 50 years ago. Every church that I've been a part of, people would say, Pastor, I remember when the church was full. Pastor, I remember when we had the organist and it would play every single Saturday. Pastor, I remember when we had to use overflow rooms. I've heard these stories and it's like we want to go back to a time where things were better because the churches were more full. And here at the Bolingbrook Church, I don't want that to be our same fate. I don't want to build monuments. I want to be a part of a movement. And so every single year, we are going to continue to lay out the vision and the mission of who God is calling the Bolingbrook Church to be, who He's calling you to be. And so today we're going to be looking at the idea that Bolingbrook Church is a place to find and build community. So let me pause. Let's have a word of prayer and then we're going to jump in. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for so many blessings that we are not even aware of sometimes. But God, I want to thank you that you woke us up this morning. I want to thank you that you've created this medium for us to connect even though we are not in person right now. But God, ultimately, I want to thank you for the word that you've given us. So over the next few moments, as we have a conversation about what it means to find community here at Bolingbrook Church, it's my prayer that you would help us to hear the thing you need us to hear. In your name we pray. Amen. So as I mentioned today, we're going to be talking about what it means that the Bolingbrook Church is a place to find community. Now in the Old Testament, there was an idea, or rather, not the Old Testament. Oh man, Ravi, cut this. So today we're going to be talking about the idea that the Bolingbrook Church is a place for you to find community. But I want to go back to just around Jesus's time. And there was a word that was often used, and it was called ecclesia. Now, ecclesia is a Greek word that means church. But in Jesus' day, they didn't use it the way that we use the word church today. See, a lot of times today we talk about, well, we are the Bolingbrook Church. And oftentimes we think of it as this building or this place. Or sometimes we talk about church as how you identify to a denomination, like the Seventh-day Adventist Church or the Methodist Church or the Lutheran Church or the Catholic Church. We use church in so many different ways. But in the New Testament, during the time of Jesus and the time after when the disciples were spreading the message of Jesus, the word for church was ecclesia. And ecclesia didn't refer to a building or a denomination. It didn't refer to a place, but instead, ecclesia referred to a people. Because for Jesus, when he came, Jesus didn't come to start a new religion. Jesus didn't come to start a new denomination. Jesus took what was already there, the Jewish community, the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. Jesus takes that and he says, hey friends, the one you've been waiting for is now here. I am walking amongst you. Jesus even said, you come to the scriptures because you think that through the Bible you will find life. But he says, no, the one that you find life through is me. It's me. I'm here. Come to me. I will give you life. Jesus, when he comes onto the scene, he's not starting a new church. Jesus was starting a movement. He was done with monuments. Jesus wanted a people who were on the move. Jesus comes to give us life. To give us life and give it more abundantly. Jesus comes in many ways. He was always talking against or criticizing religious people because as religious people, it's so easy for us to get caught up in our traditions, to get caught up in the way things always were, to get caught up in the glory days of our churches. And Jesus knew that that was a dangerous place to be. So Jesus comes to do a new thing. Jesus comes to begin this movement of followers of Jesus who would willingly follow Jesus wherever he leads. Because through Jesus, we have salvation. He is the way, the truth, the life. Jesus doesn't come to start churches. Jesus comes to call out a people, to call a people to follow him, to call the ecclesia. You are the ecclesia. I am the ecclesia. Together we are the ecclesia. And my desire, my hope, my dream for the Bolingbrook Church is that we would be the Bolingbrook Ecclesia, that this is where we would gather together as a people of God, not just to come to worship, but to embody, the theological word is incarnate, to incarnate the theology, what we believe about God, what we believe about Jesus, to incarnate it, to put it into flesh, to literally be the hands and feet of Jesus. We, the Bolingbrook Ecclesia, are a people who have been called to minister in this time and in this place for the glory of God. And so we are the Ecclesia. We are Bolingbrook. Church means that we are the group of people that God is calling us to be. And that's why we're spending this first month in January asking these questions. Well, who do we want to be? Who is God asking us to be? We are a place of belonging. We want you to come to this place and feel like you can come just as you are. Now, I'll be honest, you probably won't stay that way. Because the truth is that the closer you are to Jesus, Jesus rubs off on you. The closer you are to Jesus, Jesus changes and transforms you. That's gospel. So we want Bolingbrook Church to be a place of belonging. We want you to be able to invite your friends and your family and know that when they come here, they're family. But we also want to be a place where you find community. When the pandemic kind of was coming to the end and we started hearing from people, we heard that, hey, we just weren't as connected as we thought we were. Man, the friendships that we had, the hallway conversations we had in church, I guess it wasn't as close as we thought. I didn't hear from some of these people. But the truth is this, that we all went through this pandemic. We all suffered. We all felt lonely. We all felt isolated. But coming out of the pandemic here at Bolingbrook, we realized, well, what would it look like for us to create a Saturday experience where people could delve deeper into community and relationship with one another? I mean, that's the church. That's the ecclesia. That's who God is calling us to be, a people. When we go to heaven, there won't be a place for Seventh-day Adventists. There won't be a place for Methodists. There won't be a place for Mormons. There won't be a place for Catholics. No, when we get to heaven, all those who get in, we will all be together. One people, one called out people, one ecclesia. And so at Bolingbrook Church, we said, look, let's create a Saturday experience where we're going to gather together and create space for people to get to know each other, for people to connect with each other, for people to share phone numbers and begin these eternal friendships. And that's what today is. Because the truth is that humans were not created to live in isolation. Humans were not created to live alone. You know, the Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, God had created the world. God is making everything. He has Adam there. And so Adam is at work. He was a professional. He was naming animals. He was keeping the animals and the flocks and the ground and the trees and the flowers and the bushes and all that stuff. But God says, he looks at Adam and he's like, man, this creation is great. God created Adam. God created humanity in God's own image. But here's what verse 18 says. Then the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper as his partner. At creation, God says it is not good for man to be alone. At creation, God makes the decision that he is or not at creation, but here we read this, that it is not good for man to be alone, that the humanity was created to live in relationship with each other. Sure, some relationships are romantic, others are platonic, others are friendships, but we weren't created to be alone, to live in isolation. We weren't created just as individuals, but when God dreams of the vision of what this world would be like, he wants us to be a people filled with friendships. You know, when God looks at his creation, after every day of creation, God looks at his creation, he says, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is very good. But even at creation, God says, no, but it's not good for man to be alone. And so he creates Eve to be Adam's partner. And it's true for us still to this day. This isn't talking just about marriage, but it's about talking about the human condition. And that's what I love about church when we gather together for on Saturday mornings for worship. What I love about it is that it reminds us that we have these other people that we call brothers and sisters. Right? We're brothers and sisters in Christ that we can do life with. And yet I still feel like people are isolated because people are still just coming to church because they want to hear the music or they want to hear a sermon and they get here and then they leave right away without ever making meaningful connections. But that's not what church is. That's not who we want to be. And so here's the first ask that I have for you if you are a part of our physical community here at Bolingbrook, is that you would go out of your way every single Saturday to meet somebody new. There are a lot, and I'll be honest, I'll be the first person to say, even as the lead pastor of this church, there are still people's names that I don't know. There are people that I haven't had conversations with. There are people I don't know. But what would it look like if every single Saturday from now on, beginning today, every single one of us made the effort to get to know a new person, to begin a new conversation? And it's this easy. Hi, my name is David Oceguera. It's that easy, but you see what happens in our lives is we want other people to make the first move. We want the other people to come to us and introduce themselves. And then when they don't, we feel isolated. When they don't, then we feel like, man, we can't find community here. But the truth is, it begins with you. Community begins with you. If you want to find a community of friends, of people that you can do life with in a church, it begins with you. Quit putting the burden on someone else to come to you first. No, you be the person. You be the spark. You be the one that says, hi, my name is David. What is your name? Where are you from? How old are you? I don't think you can ask that question. What do you do for work? What brings you here? There's 101 questions that you can ask. But we want you to take the first step. And if you're the kind of person that says, Pastor, I do want community. There's another very easy way that you can find community here at Bolingbrook. Join a ministry team. Literally, like if you want to find community, if you want to have friends that you can hang out with, that you can go to lunch with or dinner with, if you want to have friends, Join a ministry team, whether it's the greeters or the media team or Disciple Town or Student Connections or Sabbath Cafe or any of our safety and security. I know I'm missing some, so forgive me. Join a team, because the way that we want our church to be is that every single team is like its own little community. And the leaders are like the pastors of that community. And we want that these teams to continue to grow and blossom and have friendships. Like, if you want true community, join a team. On our website, in the menu, there's a place that says join a team, and it has all the information there. Join a team. If you want community, that's where it starts. That's the easiest, fastest way. You know, there are studies done that relationships, friendships grow when a group of people take on a meaningful task together and accomplish it. When you work together with other people, you develop relationships that are often lifelong relationships. And the other way that you can build community is just tag along. Literally, just be there when things are happening. I can't tell you how many times myself, my wife, my family, Pastor Dave and his wife will say, all right, let's go to lunch. And then what started as 2 families, all of a sudden turns into 35 people. It's no invite necessary. Just tag along. Just be there with us. Everyone is invited. So join a team, tag along. You be the one that makes the first step. Because church, I mean, if you're just coming to worship, man, you're missing out on what church really is about. Church is about the friendships, the relationships, the family of God, the ecclesia. So I want to look at one final passage here in the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9, it says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up the other. But woe to the one who is alone and falls and does not have another to help. Again, if 2 lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though one might prevail against another, 2 will withstand one. A threefold cord is not easily broken. Like the wisest man to ever have lived, Solomon, writes in the book of Ecclesiastes that 2 are better than 1. That if one falls, if you have a friend, they will help to pick you up. This is a vision of what godly community can be. Wouldn't you love to have those kinds of friendships? Now I know some of you might be thinking, well, no one talks to me at church. Remember, you have to own your friendships here. You have to be the one that makes the first step. Get to know somebody new every single week. And I know if you're shy, if you're introverted, because I'm more shy, I'm more introverted, it's harder to do that because you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to go up to someone and start trying to have a conversation and they're not having any of it. But just do it. This is a safe place for us to have those friendships. Solomon says, if there are 2, if one falls, the other can pick you up. It says 3 can prevail against someone if you are attacked. Christian community is about finding these friendships that will last. It is the ecclesia, the movement, the people of Jesus who are moved and filled with the Spirit of God, helping one another. So there's this quote that I came across earlier this week. It's by C.S. Lewis. We know C.S. Lewis as an author of a lot of Christian literature. Here's what he writes about community. He says, deep community is not the goal a church seeks, but the result of people living for something greater than themselves. You see, true community is about coming together and working together on something that is bigger than ourselves. Here at the Bolingbrook Church, this church is bigger than any one person. It's bigger than me, it's bigger than Pastor Dave, it's bigger than the leaders, it's bigger than you who might just come and go every single Saturday. This church is bigger because God is asking us to create spaces for people who have been far from God and want to come closer to have their life changed and transformed. And you are a part of what God is doing. So there's no better way to work together, to take that first step, to tag along. I still remember my first year in college, at the end of the year, I had a friend of mine who came to me and he said, hey, there's a group of us that are going to be driving out to Utah. And we're going to be going there to do a camp meeting. They've asked us, a group of us from La Sierra University, to come out and do the youth and young adult tent at a camp meeting, like old school camp meeting with big white tents and chairs under there and no air conditioning. And we said, hey, I know you've taken some religion classes. Do you want to come with? And I was like, yes, absolutely, I want to go. I mean, I just wanted to go because I didn't really go a lot of places growing up. So the idea of going to Utah, why not? Let's go. And it was with a group of some of my friends that I had started making that year. So we went out there, we drove out there. I can't remember how long it took. It took forever. We were in 2 of those big 15-passenger vans. We went out there, we did ministry for a week. We did some fun stuff too. And we came back after a week. But I can tell you that some of the friends that I made on that trip have become lifelong friends. Some of the people that I did ministry with, bringing the message of Jesus to these youth and young adults in fun and exciting ways, that these friends that I did ministry with, I can still call up on my phone today if I need help. And that's the vision of an ecclesia that has Jesus at the center. Of a church that has Jesus at the center, the same Spirit, the same Lord, the same God. That's what we want for you. And I know it doesn't always feel that way. Listen, churches have a way of not always living up to who we hope we are. And I know that there are some of you who have been disappointed by church. Some of you have even been hurt by church. Like, I own that. I know that. We're humans. Right? People say the church is, there's a bunch of hypocrites. Like, yeah, everywhere. Tell us how not to be. We're humans. But we want Bolingbrook Church to be better than that. We want Bolingbrook Church to be a place of authentic individuals that have their own stories, their own past. We want Bolingbrook Church to be the kind of place where you can not only feel like you belong, but also a place where you can find community, where you can find your people, regardless of where you've been and what you've gone through, but where you can find a people that can be lifelong friends that you can take into eternity with. We want you to be the ecclesia. We want you to participate. We want you to help us build this growing movement that Jesus is doing here in Bolingbrook so that we can glorify God. Listen, in the process, you're going to be transformed. In the process, you're going to find joy. In the process, you will make friends. But friends, let's be reminded that when we gather here, we're not gathering for ourselves. We're gathering for the bigger thing that God is doing. This whole thing is God's story. From Genesis to Revelation, it is God's story. God is the main character, but He is asking us to participate. He's asking you to be a part of God's bigger story in your little corner of the world, but we know that we need each other to be faithful to what God is asking us to do. So come, be a part of the Bolingbrook Ecclesia. And if you've been a part of our online community, move here. We moved here from California and we love Bolingbrook, but we know that God is doing something special. Come here, be a part of what we're doing. And I promise, we won't be perfect. We won't always get it right, but we will always be faithful and we will always submit ourselves to the Spirit of God. God bless you. We hope to see you today at 12:30, but let's bow our heads and let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you that you've given us so much language in Scripture about what it means to be the ecclesia, about what it means to be a people that are called on purpose for a mission. But Father, I pray right now for those who have been feeling alone, those who have been feeling isolated, those who want this kind of community, God, that when they come here the next time, give them the courage to introduce themselves, to make new friends that we know will last for eternity. Father, we thank you for your presence. In your name we pray. Amen.
Hey, thank you so much, Bolingbrook Church family, for joining us today. Listen, we are so happy that you are a part of the movement that is happening here at Bolingbrook Church. We believe God is doing amazing things, and we want to continue to invite you Today, we don't want to let you forget that it's Connection Sabbath Day. And usually, all last year, we were having it at the Living Water Community Church. And now we are moving Connection Sabbath here to our Bolingbrook Church location at 301 East Boughton Road here in Bolingbrook, Illinois. At 12:30, come with your friends, come with your family, and enjoy Bible study, enjoy community, and enjoy some fun times with everyone here at the Bolingbrook Church. We do have Discipletown open at 12:30 as well. That lasts throughout the entire time of Connection Sabbath. It's a blessed time to have with each other, to just sit and get to know your fellow Bolingbrook Church member, your fellow Christian, and also share some laughs, but also open up the Word together. We want to continue to ask you to sign up to be a small group participant, and if God is calling you, to be a small group leader as well. That QR code will show up on the screen right now, and what you do is you open up your camera app, you simply show your camera to the QR code, and your camera will pick up a link that you just simply click on, and then you could sign up to be a small group member, or if you would love to be a guide, a small group leader, you are welcome to sign up for that as well. We want to connect you during the week, and we want to connect you to our prayer line that happens every single Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. A group of us from this church and around the nation gather together and we pray for one another. And I'm telling you, it's people from around the nation, and even in Canada as well. And we simply get together and we pray for each other, and we want to pray for you as well. So join the prayer line at 7:30 a.m. on Monday morning and start your week off with community, with devotion, and with prayer. We also want to invite you to sign up for our newsletter. You can see that on our website, bolingbrook.church. You scroll down and you'll see our newsletter link that you can click on. Also follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook for all things up to date for Bolingbrook Church. Now, you can also continue to give to this church and its mission of creating spaces for the people that God missed the most. You can do that with any of our ways to give online, text to give, or you can do it on Zelle to info@bolingbrook.church. We want to thank you so much for being a part of this church and this movement. We want to continue to ask for your support and your prayers as we continue to do God's work here in the Bolingbrook area. Take care, everyone, and God bless.